Today, I want to tackle something that I've been hearing a lot about. I think that we all have. And I want to give you my opinions, my thoughts, and my real world experience with this. I keep hearing this headline out there of AI will replace 80% of jobs. And dentists are hearing this, and I don't want to say they're panicking, but their teams might be a little bit, and the people that work for them. And I think the irony here is that practices that fire and replace them with AI tools are the ones falling behind, not getting ahead. Because I'm just not quite sure that we're in a place right now where AI should be, or even is, replacing humans in dentistry. Okay, and so I want to go through that. Hey everybody, welcome back to the No BS Dental Growth Podcast. I am your host, Chris Pistorius, and today I want to tackle something that I've been hearing a lot about. I think that we all have, and I want to give you my opinions, my thoughts, and my real world experience with this. I keep hearing this headline out there of AI will replace 80% of jobs. And dentists are hearing this, and I don't want to say they're panicking, but their teams might be a little bit, and the people that work for them. And I think the irony here is that practices that fire and replace them with AI tools are the ones falling behind, not getting ahead. Because I'm just not quite sure that we're in a place right now where AI should be, or even is, replacing humans in dentistry. Okay, and so I want to go through that. My very strict opinion as of today, which is June 23rd, 2026, I've got to cement that because things change very quickly. AI is not a replacement for your team, people. It really isn't. You're in an industry where AI is going to be able to help you, but AI is not replacing anybody, especially anybody that has interaction with patients. And that is almost everybody within a dental practice. AI, I believe, is the thing that makes your team, your human team, more dangerous. The practices that we see right now winning aren't using less humans. They're using the same amount of humans, just with much better tools, if that makes sense. So, on a personal note, we here, I'm the CEO of KickStart Dental Marketing. We run an extremely AI forward company is how I would put it, right? We use AI every day. Absolutely. And I have just as many people on my team now. In fact, if you looked at my team 5 years ago to today, we have way more people now than we did then. And it's not a matter of my people, I'm replacing people, for AI just to take over, right? I'm using AI to make the people that we have more efficient and can do better work a little bit faster. Now, the argument can be said, okay, well, Chris, you keep the people you have now, but that may mean that you don't have to hire as many to do the same amount of work. Yeah, you're right. That is true. But that's not, replacing humans in a sense. It's making the humans that I have that much more efficient, and it makes their job more interesting too. Because especially in my industry, like a tech industry type of thing, the people that we hire are all about like tech and, new things and really cool, digital type stuff. And, so that's right up our alley. And not only are we doing more work, but we're finding that it's helping us do more quality work as well. So it's not like we're using AI to cut corners and, reduce our quality. We don't do that at all. It's actually helping with our overall work. I think tech companies and media, they want you scared. They always do, right? Because fear sells software, it sells subscriptions, it sells ads, it sells a lot of stuff. Every AI vendor out there pitches replace your receptionist or fire your marketing team. But I think dentists and dental practices are a little bit susceptible to this type of talk because you guys are operators. You're not tech people all the time, right? You guys hear the hype and you either kind of laugh it off and ignore it, or completely on the other side overcorrect sometimes and think that you can just automate everything and you can just fire everybody. The real fear should be the opposite of that, though. The fear should be more of like falling behind. Your practice falls behind your competition because you refuse to give your team better tools. It's kind of like refusing to give your hygienist an ultrasonic scaler because the hand instruments work just fine, right? It's very similar to that. And what you're actually seeing right now in the market are practices buying AI phone systems. I've seen a practice, and this failed miserably for them, but they had bought this AI phone system where they were going to replace their front desk staff, right? And so they turned off their phones, their team, and they just had this AI agent take it over. And then all of a sudden they wonder why case acceptance drops, why no shows increase, and why overall patients just pretty much fell off of a table. And they are not doing that today, I can tell you that. And their patients, their biggest feedback was, it feels like you guys don't care anymore. Well, let's talk about that. That caring, what's that also called? Empathy, right? And I can tell you AI is good at a whole lot of things, but empathy is not one of those. Building rapport is not one of those. So the headline that I think that nobody writes is, I would put it as practice implements AI, keeps great team, grows 30%. I think that's the real story here, right? Keep the team you have, make them more efficient, and maybe you don't have to hire one more front desk person. Don't think that you can just replace everybody with a tool like this. I kind of killed a little bit of the hype of AI, but I want to also talk about what AI does really well. Think about like repetitive, high volume type tasks, appointment reminders, review requests, reactivation texts, follow-up sequences, data entry. Those things it does really well. But guess what? For most of you, a lot of those things you already had automated anyway. Maybe not technically with AI, but a lot of those things were automated. I think it helps a lot with speed, pulling reports, for instance, summarizing information, answering basic like FAQ type questions 24/7. I think we see a lot of great performance out of it there. I think it helps you with consistency. So it never has a bad day. It never forgets something. Well, I shouldn't say that. It does forget things, but and it never skips things. It's there. It's usually consistent, and you can depend on it. It doesn't have to go pick up its kids from school, right? Or take a vacation for 2 weeks, right? It doesn't quit on you. So there's a lot of benefits in terms of the consistency of this thing. And I think scale is a big thing. One system done correctly can really handle what almost 3 people used to do in manual work. I want to also talk about what AI is terrible at. Empathy, we already talked about that, right? Let's say a nervous patient calls, toothache, 9 p.m. They don't want to talk to a robot. They want to talk to a human who says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, let's get you in first thing in the morning. Don't worry about it." We see this all the time. Robots can't do that. Complex objection handling, I think, is a big one too that people don't typically think about. It's like when a patient says, "I need to talk to my spouse," or, "That's more money than I expected." That requires emotions. That requires emotional intelligence, more specifically, kind of like being able to read tone, building trust, things like that. It is not good at that. Relationship building, we talked about the rapport side of this. Your front desk person who maybe remembers a kid's name, a family death, or, something like that. Maybe they ask about the vacation that they just went on. That's irreplaceable, folks. AI is not there. I'm not sure that it will ever get to that point, but it is terrible at doing things like that. Judgment calls. This one scares me because I think that there's a lot of people, not per se dentistry, but, running businesses and making, crucial financial decisions, maybe even at home. They type it into ChatGPT and they're like, "Oh, well, there you go. There's my answer. I'll invest this, or I'll do that, or I'll take the money out of this and I'll spend it on that." That's scary as hell to me, right? When something doesn't quite fit a script, when a situation is nuanced, a little bit more complex, or when you need to escalate something or make an exception to something, AI is not good at that kind of stuff. Those are, some of the goods and the bads that we're experiencing as of today anyway with AI. Really, the bottom line of this is that AI handles tasks really well. AI handles humans really poorly. Humans need to handle the moments, I guess, is a good way to put that. If you confuse which is which in that scenario, though, you're going to start losing some patience. And I've seen it firsthand. So don't fall into that trap. Let's talk about the real problem that I see here is, using automation, using robots without some sort of a strategy behind it, like an overarching, okay, we're going to do this to get that. And these are the steps that we're going to take in between those two things. One of the biggest mistakes within that is, a practice buys an AI tool. All right. Maybe it's ChatGPT, the subscription. Maybe it's Claude, whatever. There's a bunch of them out there, and there's a lot for dental specific. Practices buy this AI tool, they plug it in, and then they assume everything downstream just takes care of itself. And that's not how it works. Everything that you plug into your practice or change with your practice has a downstream consequence that you've got to be able to think about, right? So it's kind of like buying a $150,000 CEREC machine, right, for your practice, and then never training your team on how to present same-day crowns to patients. The technology is pretty much useless unless there's some sort of a human process around it. So I think what you're seeing right now is probably AI answering services that book appointments, but nobody follows up to confirm or pre-qualify. I just did a dental growth hack on this not long ago. Go back and watch it. I don't believe, my personal opinion is that AI scheduling, like voice scheduling, I don't think it's ready yet. We've tested it with 2 or 3 practices, and it's just, we've wound up having to turn them off. I think you're seeing automated review requests going out, but nobody responding to the reviews that come in, right? So you automatically ask for a review on Google. Somebody actually leaves you that review, but no human is there to actually acknowledge that they got the review, respond to it, and go on from there, right? The AI chat on the website is capturing leads that sit maybe in an inbox for a day or 2, or maybe more. And it's not just the AI chat. It's, really all marketing, but we've got to have a human interact with that at some point. Practice is cutting front desk staff because the AI handles calls. We talked about this. And then their no-show rate drops to, 20%. And I've seen that absolutely firsthand. So the tool here isn't the problem. The assumption is the problem. The assumption that the technology removes the need for any human interaction, any involvement, any oversight, and any connection at all. Kind of think of it like this. AI is the engine, but your team is the driver, right? So, like, for instance, this podcast I'm doing right now, you might see me look down every once in a while. Well, I give my AI tool, it's like, look, I'm going to do a podcast today, all right? This is the topic I want to do it on. These are some of the points I want to make. Now, I want you not to build me a script that I'm just, kind of reading. I want you to give me talking points. And then each talking point is what I look down and look at, and then I expand on that. Okay. So I have AI making me more efficient because it would have taken me half the day to write this out, just the talking points. But instead, AI does it for me in seconds. I review it to make sure it's all right. Then I put it into my internet machine here and it gives me the talking points as I'm speaking. So I go down and look at the next point. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to talk about. That's a perfect example of human interaction with AI. Okay. So I think, though, you should really be asking, how do I use AI to free up my team's time so that they can do more things that actually move the needle? Not how do I use AI to get rid of people? That's absolutely the wrong mindset. You can still make more profit, more money, but not with just, all right, you walk into an office and it's all, Mac Minis running Claw on it. Again, my opinion, but I think so far anyway, real world examples follow pretty much what I'm talking about right now. I like to talk, when I talk to my team about AI, I'm like, this needs to be a force multiplier, for the people that we already have. I'm not replacing a $20 hour employee. I'm turning that employee into somebody who performs like they're a $40 per hour employee. Well, let me put that in an example of front desk. All right, without AI, your front desk person spends half their day maybe on hold with insurance companies, manually confirming appointments, entering data, following up with recalls, trying to book, maybe no-shows, trying to reschedule those with somebody else, right? Now, with AI, some of that at least is automated. Now, that same person then spends their time on the phone with nervous new patients, handling complex scheduling, following up on unscheduled treatment, things like that, building relationships. Remember what AI is good at and what it's not good at. Building relationships, not good at. All right? It's the same person. It's the same payroll, but they're doubling their output. There's a marketing example of this, the world that I live in. And maybe some of you have an internal marketing person. Your marketing person spends days pulling reports, writing social posts, formatting emails, a lot of what we would call the grunt work around here. We would maybe in the past hire an intern to do that. With AI, reports are generated in seconds. First drafts of like this podcast, right? The talking points. Campaigns are built faster. We can analyze data quicker. So we've been in business 17 years with dental practices, right? So we're able to take 17 years of Google Ads data and throw it into AI, have AI make sense of it, and then spit back to us, hey, this is what's working the best. This hasn't worked. This is why. So that we can make decisions about campaigns much quicker with a lot more data. Something like that in the past before AI almost would have been worth doing because it just would be too complex to figure out. I think a good patient communication example would be before, in terms of would be like appointment reminders, post-visit follow-ups, maybe, recall texts, review requests on the first request, I should say. Okay. But on the second touch, that's all human. So the personal call when somebody hasn't been in for 18 months, when the doctor calls after a procedure, the conversation when somebody's hesitant about treatment, that happens all the time. Again, AI is very bad at that. At KickStart with us, giving you another example with us, we do use AI heavily. We talked about that. Our team is much more productive. The problem that we have right now with AI is that these new tools come in, and we're like, well, wait a minute, we're using tool A. Now all of a sudden they say tool A sucks and now tool B is what you do, right? So I think we're going to see some of that, in the upcoming months and years until some things settle down a little bit. But the people who embrace the tools are the people that we want to work with, right? They're the ones leveling up. AI has not taken their jobs. It's just made their jobs much more interesting for them and much more valuable. Now, what you might run into is, perhaps the front desk person that's been there for 30 years and AI, oh, I'm not going to use AI, that's a blah, 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 blah. Well, these were the people 25, 30 years ago, saying the internet was a fad. What if you would have kept them around? You'd have been way behind. So I think we're in that same kind of iconic gear shift, if you will, right now with AI. If you follow me at all, I'm all about giving you homework to do. So here's what I would do if I were you with this AI stuff in terms of how to use it within your practice. Step one, I would audit your team's time. This is good to do anyway. Where is your team spending hours right now on tasks that don't require human judgment or empathy or things like that? That's your AI opportunity, not headcount reduction. Remember that. It's time reallocation. Let's put it that way. So like, for instance, what I do here sometimes every few months, I'll have somebody write down what they do. And every 15 minutes, a buzzer goes off. And they just do a quick, all right, this is what I was doing during that 15 minutes, right? And then we do take that and we put it into AI and then with their job description. And then we're like, all right, what makes sense for them to actually be doing here versus handing this off to you? Step two, automate the repetitive and the relational stuff, right? So reminders, confirmations, the data entry, the basic follow-ups, automate all those. The phone conversations, objection handling, patient relationships, the complex scheduling stuff, those all need to stay human. Step three, train your team on the tools. Don't just say, hey, here's ChatGPT, go have fun. Invest in showing them. And if you don't know how to do it, there's tons of courses out there. If you need help deciding which one's the best, ask me. I know them. The team that fears AI and resists it are really the teams that are going to be pushed behind here. So embrace it. Get your teams excited about it. But don't just give them a tool and say, hey, here you go. See you in a month. Show them how to use these things. Step four, measure what matters. Don't just measure. We save 10 hours a week. Measure what your team did with those 10 hours. We do that here at KickStart. We can't just use AI for, cool things, shiny objects. If you're using AI, and we're spending money on AI as well, of course, I need to know what those, $200 worth of credits in AI, what did that get us back? Where specifically were we more efficient? That's the kind of stuff as an owner you're going to need to track. For instance, for you, did our production go up? Did case acceptance improve? Did our show rates increase? Things like that. Really, the ROI on AI is what your humans do with the time that it does give back to them. That's the kind of stuff that you need to be measuring with this. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here, but I think that the practices that win in the next 5 years won't be the ones with the most AI tools. They'll be the ones with great people using those great tools. AI doesn't care about your patients. They don't. On the surface, they'll say that they do, but your team will, the humans. That's the competitive advantage that no software can replicate. So if you take one thing from this episode, stop asking, what can I replace with AI? And start asking, what can AI unlock for my practice? That's kind of like the old JFK, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, type of thing. And, the answer for you almost is more time for your team to do what humans do best. Free up their schedule to do the empathy, the complex stuff. Let AI handle the rest of it. All right. So if you like this episode, please subscribe, because then we'll notify you as soon as we drop our next one. Typically, we drop these on Thursdays. Sometimes I'll get crazy and do it a little bit earlier or later, but that's typically when we do them. But please subscribe to it. Share it. If you've, another practice owner that maybe is struggling with how to use AI and, what they should do with it next, share this with them. It'll just help kind of spread the word and help us as well. And if you need some help with AI, if, a big part of what we do is, making sure the right AI marketing tools are being plugged in for the right practices. And then teaching their teams on how to use it and how to be more effective. Or we also help with, just doing it for them. So if that's something that you're looking at as well, just go to our website, kickstartdental.com. There's buttons all over the place that say, get your 90-day growth plan or schedule your free discovery call. Click any of those. They all go to the same place, and schedule a free discovery call with us. And we'll give you some advice on your practice specifically. And if it makes sense to work with us, great. And if not, we'll give you our honest opinions on what we think you should do. All right. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Dental Marketing Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.kickstartdental.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you are ready to grow your practice, then you might want to schedule a free strategy session with us. Just go to kickstartdental.com and click the free strategy session button and give us 15 minutes of your time to change your practice forever. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode. And thanks for listening to the Dental Marketing Podcast by Kickstart Dental Marketing, where dentists go to win online.